welcome here to TalkFCB and welcome back to the channel here today, guys, where it is time for week 2 in La Liga, where Barça will be facing a very tricky trip away at Real Sociedad in a game right here that is really going to test us. But we have to stand up to that test. We have to arrive to this occasion looking to hit back, looking to prove ourselves and put the disappointment of the opening game of the season firmly behind us. It's time now to really kick off the season, to send out a statement. And we're going to have real emphasis today on what the starting lineup could and should be. It is all coming your way. This already is a big one. So come on, and let's get to it. Because today's video, guys, is coming to you courtesy of the One Football app, which of course is the destination to stay updated on all of the transfer news, especially now as we're heading into these chaotic final days of the window. And of course, it's also the place to stay updated before, during, and after every game of the season. Everything you'll need is right there. Big up to One Football again, supporting the channel in yet another season. And thank you indeed for all of you who do download the app using the link down below. I really appreciate it to all of you guys. But the game on Sunday, it is going to be coming to us at 10 PM local time. What that means is it's going to be the final game on the Sunday. Everybody, all the big teams around us will have already been in action. And believe me, the pressure's going to be on. Heading to the Anoeta. This, of course, is a stadium that's caused us a lot of heartache, a lot of hurt over the years. But in recent times, we have fared a lot better heading to this stadium. Last season, of course, we recorded a really important 1-0 win back at the end of April, with Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang scoring the winning goal on that occasion. And could this be his final game at Barca? Could he actually leave following this weekend? Deep right now in talks with Chelsea. Those negotiations are at an advanced stage, and Aubameyang looks closer to departing than staying at the club. And what about, as well, the man that provided that assist at the Anoeta, putting it on a plate, really, for Aubameyang at the back post, Ferran Torres. We haven't seen him at all in pre-season because of an injury problem. Xavi confirmed today, though, that he's 100% fit again. He is ready to be selected, and I do wonder here whether we could get a glimpse of him for the very first time of the season on Sunday. But what exactly can we expect in this particular game? Because obviously many of us will probably say, you know, if we can just fix what we saw against Rayo Vallecano, if we can just fix those errors, those mistakes that we were making, and really improve in those areas, then in this game we should be absolutely fine. But it's really that simple in football, isn't it? Especially here with two very different oppositions, very different kinds of games. And I think here we are going to see something drastically different. Because when you look at the average position there of each Rayo Vallecano player last weekend, of course, in that opening game, they sat very deep. It was a really deep block. We know that we struggle against teams who really do park the bus, who waste time, who make it difficult there to find any rhythm in games. And quite often under Xavi, we've been better away from home, because when you look at what we can kind of expect from Real Sociedad, they're going to come out and play. They're not just going to sit in and soak up pressure and shut down all of the space. They are going to press us high, which obviously poses a very different question. We've got to get around that press. We've got to make sure that we're on our game, that we're sharp, that we're confident, that we have to recapture that feeling. We didn't see it against Rayo, but it's a different kind of game, and we can use, I feel, our attacking players much more frequently, much more how they would like to be used in a game like this, rather than the one at home against Rayo, where really there was just nothing going for us in that game. But indeed, heading into this one, the big question, probably the biggest question, is all on the shoulders of Xavi Hernandez. Because what is going to be his starting lineup? We got plenty of options in the squad. We got lots of opportunities there to change things around if necessary. But what changes might we see? Because against Rayo, this here was the starting lineup. Obviously, the only enforced change there from that team, it's going to be Sergio Busquets. He is suspended for this one after his red card. But honestly, in truth, guys, because of the performances that we saw right there, I'd actually say there are very few players who could guarantee their place because of how they performed. So there's going to be lots of chances here to ring the changes. Now already there's been talk in the Spanish media about potentially a system change going into this game. There was a lot of talk that if Kounde was registered, Xavi would go with 3-4-3. Now he spoke a few days ago about that potential system change. Once Xavi gets all of these players available, all of the players that he requested, I do think there's a real chance we do see three at the back at some stage, but that might not be yet, because Kounde's registration, it's up in the air still here as we're waiting, obviously waiting for news all the time, but it still hasn't happened, because nothing has really changed since last weekend. We haven't managed to get any wage reductions, we haven't managed to get any departures over the line. It's all going to revolve around Aubameyang potentially, Memphis Depay. We need 2 sales there to register Kounde or wage reduction, so we're going to have to wait and see on that. And it is a situation, guys, that I don't like. I really do feel uncomfortable about the way this is happening. He should be there, he should be with the team, and I do not like this at all. But for now, heading into this game, I would say there that Xavi is probably going to stick with 4-3-3. Without Kounde, it's unlikely there that we shift the system at this stage, but certainly don't rule it out in the future. But if we do indeed start with the personnel, and of course Marc-Andre ter Stegen, he is going to be keeping his spot in the team. Fantastic performance it was against Rayo Vallecano. 2 pivotal saves, of course, in either half of that game. And I think already then it gets very interesting, because even when you move on to the defence, there's so many different questions. And the very first thing that I would have to say about the defence is, I really hope and want to see Araujo at centre-back. He is not a right back. It did not help us, I think, in any sort of way to have him on that side. So for me, getting back into the heart of defence, I would partner him there with Christensen, obviously there if there wasn't any Jules Kounde. Eric Garcia, of course, pushing for that spot. But for me, I would go with Christensen. I thought he was solid in his debut alongside Araujo. And then we move on to the fullbacks, because at left back there's been lots of questions there about Jordi Alba. Of course, Alejandro Balde. The question has arisen, should he have maybe started in that opening game? Should Alba have even have played against Rayo? And especially given that Alba didn't play well what now against Real Sociedad? And for me, Xavi's got to make a statement here. And I think Xavi, looking at the reports coming out of the Catalan media, he might just do that. It might be Balde playing at left back, and that would be a big statement. And I think an eye-opener to the rest of the squad there, that you can't afford, no matter who you are, to drop your level. And that is why I would start Balde in this game. And then, of course, at right back, it is also a very interesting kind of question, because one of the sole options there is Sergio Roberto. You know, do you play him? Do you start him in that position? Or do you bring Dest back in? And to be honest, I just don't see that happening. Obviously, we're not going to get the squad list until Sunday, but it doesn't seem to me like Xavi wants to put that faith in Dest. It seems as though he wants to make it clear that he has to be sold this summer. So probably you are looking at a back four there, maybe, of Roberto, Araujo, Christensen, and for me, Alejandro Balde at left back. In midfield, obviously then, we do have to replace the suspended Sergio Busquets. There was 3 players that Xavi mentioned in his press conference who maybe could do that. Frenkie de Jong was one of those, Franck Kessié, and indeed Miralem Pjanic. Now obviously, I think quite a lot of people would like to see maybe maybe two players there in a sort of holding role. Frenkie, Kessié, I think that's something we may see a little bit more in the 3 at the back system, in the 3-4-3, that then may be more suitable to have 2 players in there. But for this game, I think it will be Pjanic who comes in as a like-for-like change there, following on from his impressive pre-season. I think Frenkie de Jong has done everything right to earn himself a starting role, no question about that. Brilliant performance when he came on against Rayo, following up his good end of the pre-season. Him, for me, starting alongside Pedri. Gavi there dropping out of the starting lineup onto the bench, along with Franck Kessié. And then it's about the front 3. And this, for me, also very, very intriguing to see what Xavi does, because the options, obviously, are Dembele, are Rafinha, also Ansu Fati knocking on the door. Maybe we could see Ferran Torres come on, you know, midway or late on in the second half. And I wouldn't be surprised if Xavi stuck with the front 3, with Lewandowski and then Dembele and Rafinha either side of them, because look, they could do damage. In a game like this where there's space, where the game opens up, where you've got a bit more room to operate in, those can be a very, very fearsome trio. But to be honest, I kind of expect him to bring Ansu in, and I think possibly it might be at the expense of Rafinha, maybe Dembele, but I just think Rafinha may be dropping out of this one from the start. Lewandowski leaving the line, then you got Ansu on the left, Dembele over on that more natural right side for him, and that there could be the team. But I think already in the season here, there is so much up for debate, and I think it's going to be really interesting now, given that we have depth, given that we have options, to see what Xavi does, what he changes, who really he can target in that team, and basically make sure that everybody knows mediocrity, it's not enough. Not this season, not ever at Barca. If you don't perform well, you do not deserve to stay in the team. Let's make changes, let's rally everybody, and be ready for this game. And in terms of your predictions, guys, obviously still plenty of confidence in amongst the Barcelona fan base. Obviously it wasn't the ideal start for us, but we are ready to hit back here. The great majority going with a win by 2 goals. Plenty as well saying this could be a 3-goal victory, but I would certainly take something there, even if it's by a goal, by 2 goals. A win at the Anoeta is something that we really should cherish. Plenty, of course, on the members' predictions as well, saying that Barca can get their first win of the season, and plenty believing this could be the game where Robert Lewandowski gets off the mark in La Liga. I would love to see that personally, a Barca win, a Lewandowski winner. That would be incredible. And I just hope we hit back. Let's start the season now. Let's kick on, send out that message, and get ourselves up the league table as quickly as possible. Please do let me know all of your predictions down below. How are you expecting the game to go? How would you line up? That is absolutely huge, guys. What names would be on your team sheet? And I will see you after this game. Hopefully, we'll be in better spirits. Hopefully, we will have something to smile about. And I thank you indeed for all of your patience and your fantastic support. I will see you soon. But until next time, as always, Visca El Barça.